Hello, good afternoon and welcome back to the Fish Locker out on Huntington Beach in California. Oh, I tell you what, I get a bottle bit me, don't I? I'm on an holiday in California with my family and I've had a chance to meet up with a couple of friends of mine. I'm out tonight. Whoop. False alarm. Oh, I just had a bite there. Yeah, I'm out today fishing with a few friends of mine. I'm on holiday with my family in California and I managed to get a day's pass and I'm out fishing with my friend Ben Harvey Murray, who's just cast his bait out down there. Now Ben's got a guiding service, AmericanSeaFishing.com if you want to look him up. He specialises in rays and leopard sharks. That's what we're hoping to catch today, rays and leopard sharks. And I've been speaking to Ben on and off for a couple of years now through Cox and Roll. Now I've mentioned this quite a lot, and I am a firm believer of if you have a passion, people have a similar passion, they will find each other. Ben and I know each other through Cox and Roll, and Dale, just up there, Dale and his son, I bumped into Dale when I was in Florida last year. I'd recce'd out a shore mark, like I'd climbed through a load of bushes and over a fence and I was fishing, and then 3 guys from the Isle of Wight popped up. Dale was one of them, and he lives in California too. So yeah, people of a similar passion, you will find each other. Fishing in a sands, well, there, you can see it. Fishing with a sand spike. The reason why we've got the rod tip high is to keep it out of the way of the surf. And we're looking for like a proper bite. The rods, the rigs, the tactics, I will explain them, I will show you them as we can. I'm just using my Any Fish Anywhere 6 and baits. They're my UK heavy shore set. I use those in Fuerteventura fishing for rays and sharks there. And it's a spin fisher 7,500. I think I've got 70-pound braid on there and 80-pound rubbing leader. The rigs that we're using are pulley rigs. In fact, I'll show you them now as we're baiting up. Yeah. I just wanted to say, I don't know what the audio is going to be like because we've got strong winds and a lot of waves. I'm just excited to be out fishing for sharks off a beach with my friends. Looking on the beach as well, there's tons of shells. If I get 2 minutes, I'll have a walk along the beach and I'll show you some stuff because I found all sorts of interesting things as well. But yeah, tonight hopefully we will see some sharks. Exactly the same as when I'm foraging. Like I explained about looking on the high tide line, about areas where, like the types of kelp that we've got. Now there have been a few things that we've been looking at. Now look at the size of that mussel. That's a mussel. We've got your auger shells and your scallops. But look at the size of these. Look at the size of these mussels there. There's your goose barnacles. Look at the size of that mussel. But yeah, also in here and amongst the seaweed, these are called by the wind sailors. There's a lot more life. These areas like this, the other beaches that I've been to, there wasn't half as much seaweed, there wasn't half as many shells. There was a lot more life around here because it's all about sustaining life. If you haven't got the little tiny things, you won't get the big ones. All the fish, these shells here, everything that you've seen on the beach, all the way to the seaweed feeds the sand fleas feed to something else. The shells, the clams, everything, this is what the fish are eating. If these aren't here, the fish won't be there. There's one of those by the wind sailors. We're fishing a flooding tide. And Ben tells me, he says, as the sun dies off, the wind's going to stop as well. Or at least drop. So hopefully, like, as the tide comes in, we'll keep moving the rods further back. Let's go.
I can talk as well.
So these rigs here, you provide these rigs part of your guiding service?
A couple of years of development, get them all nice and everything working properly, everything stops breaking, and then
I'm not so naive to think that I could use my own rigs and be as good as yours, so we'll
I think they'll work just fine.
just
mate.
go with yours.
You know, it's all marginal gains, isn't it? So anyway, so this is a Leopard Shark pulley rig, 8/0 circles from Cox and Rule.
So they're locked in place as well, aren't they?
Locked in place, yeah. So we were gonna lot of force on the cast with big bait, big sinker and stuff. So we want everything to be locked in place, especially when playing that fish. We want to be able to catch a few fish.
Sorry, that's a fresh mackerel in it. It's not a frozen.
Fresh mackerel off the pier this morning, caught off Newport Pier. So first thing is we're going to go take the top hook. We're going to go in through the nose, so just into the little bony bit. I'm going to bring it out just into the little slit between its chin, like that. So that's stage 1. Stage 2, I'm just going to put a little
I see exactly what you're doing there.
yeah, a little slit just along here, 1/8 of an inch deep, just alongside the backbone. I'm going to take this little bit of wire, bend that out.
So you've left a long tag end on your bottom hook.
Correct.
To anchor the
Yeah. So just make sure that's going to line everything up nicely. Yeah, that's good. A couple of slits in there.
It's a fundamental of building a bait, isn't it? You need to have your hook point sticking out of your bait. You need to have a proud hook point.
Especially with those circles. You need that little gape and that circle for it to just get into that lip.
You do. You see people building these amazing baits, don't they?
Oh,
and it masks the hook point. You think, well,
the circles, you see people really load them up.
Yeah.
And I was going to get bait lassie. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people don't understand how circle hooks work, really, do they? So.
Well, using them for the right type of fish as well.
Yeah,
you have to turn it in its mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, you're really important. Like I think the amount of J hooks I've taken out of leopards, people just can't unhook them properly and just cut the line. So anyway, so we've got some bait elastic here, some American sea fishing bait elastic, and we're going to just take a few reps.
So yeah, all you've done, you've mounted the first hook and you've sunk the second, but by extending that tag end, that's going to hold that. That's going to hold that.
It'll be really obvious when we finish wrapping it. Like it's really hard to then see. As I mentioned, fresh bait, pretty critical here. Fresh mackerel, fresh surf perch, fresh croaker, fresh bonito, anything as long as it's fresh and bloody and well presented on a nice big circle hook.
Well, we're going to be fishing into darkness, aren't we? So these fish are going to be finding these baits by scent.
Yeah, this is very much about smell. So I'm really fascinated by leopard sharks, and they show a distinct preference to anything fresh. Which, if you look at where they live, they have a lot of access to the little croakers and corbina and stuff like that to eat. So you've got to offer them something that's attractive.
Right.
That'll do the job. To be honest, feeling that wasn't the most freshest, best kept mackerel in the world.
No, it's fine. So
it's a tiny bit.
It just shows that you've got both hook points proud.
Yeah.
Your bait is well lashed on, and that hook there, that ain't going anywhere on it because of that little bit of a tag end.
Just imagine a shark. So leopard sharks, what they love doing, they're not a shark that really inhales a whole bait and then swims off. They just grab onto it. We'll say, let's grab onto this bit and then swim off. So that's why we have the bottom circle of it. So imagine it grabs onto it and then swims off, and that circle then goes in the corner, and you get the big bendo bite.
And that's just your standard clip down pulley rig. So your hook clips onto there, and you've got, you say this was £200 mono,
£200 mono,
and £130 wire, and you've got probably a 4 foot total length. Oh, excellent. And the reason why you clip them down like that on the pulley, so that as soon as this hits, it'll release it. Your lead will sit out in the tide, and your bait will be sat like that. So that when a fish picks it up, if you simulate a fish pulling on that, it pulls your lead, so your lead ends up pulling up out of the way like that.
The good about this rig is you get the big long tail and it can beat on this all day and nothing's going to break, whereas if it's on braid or any less than mono, I think you can end up with failure pretty fast. So it's very big.
We'll get these casts back out. Right, that shows you perfectly how the rig lays out, like that. Yeah, and we've got,
so there's a Pacific ground stingray, also known as Haller's ray, little male, those little claspers there. So
you
wouldn't
wouldn't believe the size of the hook that he's taken.
Yeah, and he's legitimately had that in his mouth. He's not like foul hooked or anything. So the way to unhook these will keep hold of the spike with the pliers. Keep hold of the spiky end. Back here. Wait till that water's moving out.
Yeah, don't think that we're being overly cautious just because it's a small one. If they jab you, you'll know about it. And one of the things, they catch people out all the time because they whip their tail round. They're incredibly manoeuvrable with that tail, aren't they?
So this, I think, is a yellowfin croaker. Yeah, it's a yellowfin croaker. It's got a single barbel. White croaker don't have it. Member of the drum family. Pretty nice one, actually.
It's just got that redfish head on it.
Yeah, it's just like a redfish without spots, isn't it? You see the brassy scales. Yeah. Does the croaking as well. It's quite a big fat one, isn't it? So let's put it back. Pretty pregnant female.
Yeah. Dale's just picked it up on a drop shot. We're busy moving all the gear back. Just saying, you managed to flip that one straight out, didn't you?
Yeah, right, first cast in a while.
Can you feel the seabird? Is it straight down or is it down flat? Is it?
Yeah, I think there's some sort of little bank there, you know, but I think it's a gully in here.
I don't know if you can see here, but coming up above my head, there's a flock of pelicans. Yeah, we're fishing a flooding tide. The tide tonight's going to be high about 9 o'clock, so it's going to be about 2 hours after it gets dark. One of the reasons why we're fishing these sand spikes rather than a normal tripod is so that you can fish them straight up in the air. So the rod tip stays straight up, which keeps the line up as high as they can do, out of the waves. Now the casts that we're putting out, these are big baits. These are 8-ounce leads with half a mackerel. We're getting about 80, 90 yards max. We don't need to go that far, you just need to get past the rollers because there's a couple of sets of gullies. The drags we're fishing as well, it's not a slack drag, but also it's not a full tight drag. If the drag was locked up and a big fish picked it up, it would just pull the rod straight in the water. It wants to be enough so that the rod tip leans over into the tide, leans over into the weather and wind and waves, and if a fish picks it up, you'll see a bite. In case anyone hasn't noticed, on the back of here, I have got my spin lock also, which is a life jacket. I imagine at some point in time when we get these sharks, I am going to have to go in the water. How long had that bait been out on the end with the little ray on? I do the same thing in the UK. My standard's half an hour. I put the first one out for half an hour, and after half an hour bring it in, still fine. The next one will be 45 minutes. Ours is the same, but it's the sand fleas. Oh, really? The sand fleas come out, it's usually like slack water. You're like high water slack or low water slack. As soon as the tide drops off, you bring it back and are pilchard. Even though the bones are like as thin as a hair, it's still got the whole, exactly like a Tom and Jerry like moment.
Pick it up and it will just pick up.
Quite often your standard textbook skate bite is you'll get a bounce and like a slack, or it'll just go, like as in there'll be nothing at all, okay, and then it'll just disappear. As in your rod needs to be like locked into a rock crevice where your drag set, otherwise it's gone. The only issue that I've ever had fishing pulleys, unless you're from like elevation, is if you've got a good run of tide sometimes and you don't leave enough of a bow, yeah, your leg can be on the bottom and the bait can be up spinning round.
I know a couple of English guys who fish like up and overs, up and under.
Up and overs are fishing.
Try to make that work. The complexity is.
That is a stunner of a shark. It's yeah, I was just busy talking to you and I'd seen a couple of little tremors on the rod tip. It just given like a, and just as I said there's something going on there, and the rod tip just went and ran off. But it was I don't know what, I don't even know what weight you would give it. It's a double.
Oh yeah, that's probably just 50 inches or 51 inches where
But it
I
is
don't know, man. It's hard to tell because it's clearly carrying butt pups. It's quite fat, so
it is a stunning looking shark.
beautiful markings, aren't they? Completely unique.
What
Some parasites on the dorsal.
I'm going to ask you to do really quickly is, if you can run it back into the surf, I'm going to get me tags. We'll stick a tag in it real quick.
Do a quick turnaround there because my back's a bit.
No worries.
Like,
Right. Yeah, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go, sorry. I'm going to go and get my NOAA tags, stick a tag in it and we'll release it. Right, if you want to really quickly
yep.
get a measure on it.
I reckon 51.
Yeah, see that? That's how quick it was.
Very good. Just hold that at the end so it's tight. And hold it.
Good.
Pull so it's tight, and then you've got your measurement. You're right. 0 right to the tail.
56.
Yeah.
And that is tag number 413328.
Very good. Right, let's get her back.
I'll grab that, mate. Ah, rapid. Well,
Go on, mate. Job
thank you
done,
very
mate.
much. Oh, that's blue. Oh, that's bright. There we go. I've been having like this little tiny rattling bite for ages. Finally brought it in because I thought I'll go and change the bait. And I swear it's like a rich tea biscuit. It's got lovely colours on it. I'm just going to turn it over, mate.
Very pretty, really.
They have got lovely colours on them.
There's some honey coming on.
And yeah, the tail as well, it's got more of a fluke on the end, hasn't it? It's got like a flat fluke rather than being like a long whip.
You can see how they get you with that kind of scorpion tail.
Oh yeah.
They just poke that up and get you like that.
Yeah, well, there he is there, look.
You've got a matching one.
They caught one. Got a double shot of him. All right, show off. There must be hundreds of them out there. Yeah. Flip them over, mate. No, it's the same species, isn't it? Yeah. And that's how big they are. Yeah, there must be literally hundreds of them out there. We've got like 3 or 4 more baits left. I'm going to put a fresh bait out and then we'll get ourselves sorted. What we've got at the moment is we have like a pack attack of little tiny smoothhounds and little tiny stingrays. What I'm doing, look, is the drag is tight, but it's not loose, but it's not going to pull the rod over. And there are just it's just constantly getting hit. Now, like I say, it's them little tiny stingrays that are about the size of like a rich tea biscuit. Or they're smoothhounds, and I'm not joking, they're about maybe a pound and a half. They're tiny. They're just big enough to give you like a good bite, and then when you try and do anything with them, yeah, just big enough to give you a bite. You run down the beach, like our camp's maybe about 80 yards up there. See a real good bite, like, well, like now, look. That was a real good bite. There, look, you see it bending over. And now the line's gone dead slack. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to call it a night. Now, I've had a fantastic night's fishing. I've had 2 really nice leopard sharks. One of 56 inches, 56, 57, I can't remember, and one of 50 inches. Managed to get 2 NOAA tags in as well. They use the information I've collected here to map growth cycles, sex, the migration routes, everything. Yeah, interesting. I'll also put the information in here about Ben's guiding service. That's AmericanSeaFishing.com. Them leopards, they are absolutely stunning. We've had probably about 10 of them little smoothhounds, half a dozen little stingrays. Apparently they do get big bat rays here. Like, we call them cow nose rays. But yeah, we're just getting, right, look. It's just constant. It's just like a, yeah, it's there's something there, but it's only small. It's either going to be a little smoothhound or another stingray. Now, fishing for these, if you're fishing on your scratching rigs, fishing with really light gear, it would be good fun. I mean, it's another species to catch. It's a bite. A fish is a fish. But when I'm set up to fish heavy for big fish, it's not. It's not really what I want to be catching. Oh, this is, well, two, but slightly different. Now that one there, I'm assuming, is a thornback, given the thorns. But yeah, the one underneath is the one with a spine. I'll get these unhooked and I'll show you them properly. Right, so you're saying that this is a thornback. I mean, yeah, it's not like the thornback rays we get in the UK, but there are like proper distinctive thorns running in 3 lines, one down the centre and one each side. But no sting. Not like that angry little guy there. There's his stinger. But I tell you what, he's meaty. He's got a good, when you think of a skate back in the UK, you're only thinking of skate wings really, whereas this guy's got a really meaty tail. And the first thing that kind of stood out to me is the colour of it. It's orange. Yeah, look.
Quite a nice female, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's a nice puppy.
We'll get it unhooked and I'll just shot it back. If you can just,
Sorry?
I've talked at camera, mate.
So you see, like,
They're tiny.
get a tenno. Well, no, you think that, but they kind of extends a little bit. And if you get like a tenno, then no.
It's yeah, very interesting looking fish. Just the shape of it. When you get wet feed. Right, I'm not going any further. See you later. That was a nice way to end with a new species. Yeah. Getting all wrapped up now. I've got one bait left out. If I catch anything else in the time it takes me to pack up, I'll show you. If I don't, then I won't. I hope you've enjoyed joining us. I hope you found it interesting. All the very best. See you later.